My name is Jabulile, and known as Dr. J. So today I was given a topic, so let me share my screen if I can.
Let me just give you the, can I just give you the hosting rights, Doctor?
Okay.
Right. Okay. It's done, Doctor. You can go ahead.
Okay, cool. Okay, I trust everybody can see my screen. Okay, so my name is Jabulile, as I said. So I was given this difficult topic to talk about, the mindset of a successful entrepreneur during difficult times. Yeah, a mindset is a big thing. If you talk to psychologists, they will tell you that everything starts from the mind. So what I did, I put together some few things that normally when people talk about entrepreneurs, they tend to expect certain qualities from them. Maybe it's important to mention that I'm an entrepreneur myself. I've been in the entrepreneurship space for more than 10 years or so, in different capacities. I started my first business in registered first business in 2003 and ran it up until 2006. Closed it there because of unfortunate situations that maybe I will mention as we go through this. And I took a break a bit because I was scared a bit after my first business didn't go as I expected to. And then I decided to go and study a little bit about this entrepreneurship animal, because I wanted to understand because when you look at research, they say about 90% of people who start businesses fail within 3-5 years or so. And I felt I was because I was part of those 90% that failed. I wanted to understand, are we stupid or what is happening? What's the issue? Why can't I be part of the 10% that succeed? So I decided to go and do a PhD, of which I did my PhD in entrepreneurship. Where I try to understand what are the factors that makes an SMME succeed. And I hoped that when I finish my PhD, I'll be able to come with the equation where I can go to entrepreneurs and tell them 1 + 1 is equals to 2. But unfortunately, that did not happen. I'm still trying to find out till today what makes some entrepreneurs succeed and some fail. Sometimes finding that they did the same or similar things. So, but what I came out to understand was that entrepreneurship is a very complicated thing. And anybody who tells you that they know for sure what will make you succeed, they are lying to you. Nobody knows the equation 100%, but we can all point out to certain things that can make you succeed, which one of them is the one that I'm going to talk about today, which is the mindset of a successful entrepreneur. So when you look at what I have here, it's a list of some of the things that people will mention now and then. Unrealistic. Entrepreneurs, they are said to be unrealistic. They don't care what logic says and all that. They go for what they believe is a good opportunity. Research also goes as far as say that they are over optimistic. They thrive under pressure, which is what is happening now. So as entrepreneurs, we are expected to thrive and not to die because of the pressure and the uncertainties that came with COVID-19. And they say entrepreneurs adapt to different environments. We are in a different environment now as we speak. Are we adapting? Are we losing hope? Or are we thriving? And also they say they've got high social intelligence, resilient, they don't take rejection personally, and the list is long. But what I want to get to say, but for an entrepreneur to have these qualities that are said to be good qualities as an entrepreneur, if you want to succeed, what kind of a mindset do we need to have as entrepreneurs? So I got this a diagram is called an iceberg. I'm sure most of us have seen this, the iceberg model. And basically what I'm going to say today is nothing that you haven't heard, and it's something that you know already. But my objective, or what I'm hoping to achieve at the end of my talk, is that we get to pause as entrepreneurs and start asking ourselves questions that we never have time to ask when we are busy chasing opportunities and trying to run our businesses. So the situation at the moment is such that it's difficult to run at the pace that we normally an entrepreneur will run at when things are normal. But then the question becomes, then what do you do with this time? And you need to ask yourself that question: what do I do with this time? And how do I control my behavior? How do I make sure that I still get the results or the outcomes that I want to get? And one of the things that is very important is to know what you've got control of and what you don't have control of. Because if you try to control things that you don't have control of, then you will get frustrated. And this is where I want us to pause and ask ourselves the question: what is it that you have control over, and what is it that you don't have control over? The funny thing about doing these sessions online is that you talk to the screen, and I normally like interacting with people. So if we're interacting, I will let you answer to say, what is it that you've got control of, and what is it that you don't have control of? And one of the things that you will find that sometimes gets us depressed, gets us frustrated, is when we try to control the things that we don't have control of. And as an entrepreneur, it's important to pause and say, the things that I'm trying to do I have control over them? Or they are something that are outside of my authority and my powers? And if we look at this iceberg, I get to say iceberg a lot because I work with another model of iceberg that I normally talk about. But if I refer to that, what I'm talking about is the iceberg. So if you look at this, you look at the top part that everybody sees, that everybody will observe, and that is most of the time the results. That is most of the time where you get people praising you, that you have achieved something. That is where people get to comment about your behavior. And these are the things that other people can observe, that other people see. And that is 10% that makes up what we are as human beings. The 10% is the observable one. But we want to talk about this part, the mindset, the part that nobody sees. And that part that nobody sees, as an entrepreneur, what do you do about that part? Like I'm sitting here, I'm talking to you. I believe that there's people in this webinar. I can't see, but I believe that there is people here listening to me. And my behavior is that I will continue talking. What you can hear or what you can see, I continue talking because I have a belief that there are people listening to me on the other side. And that's how we operate as we need to operate as entrepreneurs. There are certain things that we believe, and that those things that we believe makes us behave in a certain way. And if you look at this model, You've got your beliefs, you've got your values, you've got your thinking, you've got your emotions. And all these things mainly are things that you have control over. You've got control over what you think. You've got control over what you believe. You've got control over what you do at the end of the day. But surprisingly, the results and the behavior, you can try as much as you want to control this. You won't be able to control it if you can't control the bottom part that nobody sees. What do you believe? If I believe that during COVID-19, under lockdown, there are opportunities out there, that will dictate the kind of behavior that I will have. If I believe that there is a crisis in the country, there are no opportunities out there, that will also dictate the kind of behavior that I will show here, which people will see and will dictate the results that I have. And I want us to pause and ask ourselves, what is it that we believe during this time of COVID-19? Do we believe that there's still opportunities out there? Or do we believe that there are no opportunities? And if we believe that there are no opportunities, what are the likely response, or what is the likelihood of us going to look for the opportunities? We are not going to look for them if we believe that they are not there. But trust me, there are opportunities out there during lockdown. But if you believe they are not there, you are not going to see them. So what I'm trying to say is that our mindset needs to be in the way that allows us to thrive, that allows us to see opportunities, that allows us to run as entrepreneurs and continue to do what we need to do. There are restrictions, I agree, we cannot take away that. But one of the things that entrepreneurs are supposed, or the qualities that entrepreneurs have, is that they adapt to change. When things change, we change with them. One of the things that I did when the restrictions came, that we cannot now have, we normally do breakfast sessions, that we can't have face-to-face events. I went online and I changed my strategy, and I was like, I'm going to use this opportunity to get my business exposure online, so that by the time we have the opportunity to go back again and have contact sessions, then I will have managed to market these breakfast sessions to more people than I would have when I was busy running the sessions. But if I just sit and say, there's COVID-19, the president said we must sit at home and not have contact, and then I close myself, then I will lose the opportunity to market my business. So my question to you as entrepreneurs is, what is it that you are doing now that there are restrictions in the way you can do business? Are you managing the 90%, the invisible part? Are you doing something about your beliefs? Are you doing something about your values? Are you doing something about your thinking? What occupies your thinking most of the day? Because you've got the time to think. But the question is, what are you thinking? Are you thinking that you're not going to survive? Or are you thinking, how can I survive? Are you thinking that you are going to close the current business? Or are you thinking, what is another business that I can do if this one is not viable during this time? What are you thinking? Do you know what you've got control over? Do you know what is it that you don't have control over? What do you believe? What kind of a mindset do you have? Are you so emotional about what is happening that you can't even think straight? Are you so worried trying to control the top part, the sales, the profits, your behavior and all that, without managing the bottom part to say, I first need to have the right mindset and the right mindset, I need to be optimistic. I need to look for opportunities because they are there, but you won't see them if you're not looking for them. And the things that you believe about this current environment, do you question them? Do you test them? And even be outside or beyond this environment, do you ever challenge and question your beliefs? If you believe you can't get a certain contract, do you ever question that and ask yourself, but if I were to believe that I can get this contract, what will I need to do? Or you just believe I can't get this and you close yourself and then it ends there. So my biggest thing today is that let's challenge ourselves. Let's challenge our thinking. Let's challenge our mindset. Let's challenge the invisible so that we can start seeing the visible, showing us what we would like to see. If we want to get new business during this time, we need to manage this part. So what are you thinking during this time? Like, as I said, when I started, there's nothing that I'm going to say that is new that you don't know. There's a lot of speakers that have been speaking for the last 2 weeks or so. But my objective is that let's pause. Let's question our belief. Let's question our mindset. Let's fix it. Let's work on it. Because there's nobody else who will change your mindset except you. You decide what you want to think. You decide what you want to feed yourself so that you help your body to be aligned to the positive things that you want to think about. So what do you want to think during this time? Do you want to look for opportunities or do you want to sit and be depressed? If your business that you have been running for years seems like it's not the business now that will make you profits, do you just close, fold your arms and sit and do nothing? Or do you use this time to re-strategize and look at what are the new opportunities that are there that I've got skills for or that I've got capacity to take on, that I can go out there and do them? I've put a question here to say, do you ever wonder why you are scared, why you get undesirable results? It's because of the mindset, the things that you convince your mind. People normally say, whatever you think, that's what you are. If you believe you can do it, you are right. If you believe you can't do it, you are right too. But if you find yourself believing a lot of times that you can't do something, then you need to start working on that mindset. You need to start working on what we are feeding the mind so that you are able to think of things that will change your behavior and that will give you the results that you want. I always say to people, you can never change somebody's behavior, or you can never change even your own behavior, but you need to start first changing these things, then you can change the top part. So your actions are directed by what you believe. Sorry, I drink a lot of water. My throat is a bit dry. I won't say I've got flu because then you might think I've got corona. So what is it that you want to see here? Start working on those things here so that you can see the results up there. In closing, one of the things that entrepreneurs are not very good at is reflection, because we are always running, chasing the next business opportunity. We hardly have time to sit and reflect and ask ourselves questions. And today, my challenge to you as entrepreneurs is that pause, ask yourself questions, reflect, sit and reflect. For the past 2 years, for the past year, what have you been doing as an entrepreneur? And do you sit or do you wait for people? Do you sit and reflect and critique yourself? Or do you wait for other people to clap hands for you and praise you? Or do you sit and really introspect and find out for yourself, what are the things that are working for your business and what are the things that are not working for your business. So this is the time for us to reflect. This is the time to guard against our minds so that we don't feed our minds with the things that are going to make us to struggle to see opportunities even if they are in front of us. Because if your mindset is not right, you are not going to see the opportunity even if it's in front of you. And if your mindset or if your thinking is that you believe that you can only do something about your business after COVID-19, you're going to sit and not look. But if you believe there's something you can do now, you're going to look. You're going to be alert to things that are coming out there. You're going to see opportunities that are coming out there. So be mindful about what is happening around you. Don't ignore the fact that there are restrictions, but have a mindset that says entrepreneurs thrive even during difficult times. When it's nice, we never talk about mindset because everything flows, everything goes. But when it's tough, that's when we need to pause and force our minds to see the positives and force our minds to see the opportunities because they are there. I am convinced that even during COVID-19, opportunities are there, but you won't see them if you're not looking for them. And pay attention to the unconscious mind. A Freudian theory says that the unconscious mind governs our behavior to a greater degree than we can ever imagine. So guard against about those unconscious things you have there at the back of your mind that you don't want to answer to, that you don't want to question because you are scared that maybe if I question them, or maybe if I question my beliefs, they're not going to pass the test. Question your beliefs. If they fail the test, then find a different belief so that you can always be able to see the things you need to see to move your business forward. So guard against this unconscious mind. And most of the time psychologists say when we are scared of facing things, when we are scared maybe of dealing with things that has happened to us in the past, we normally stuck it here in the unconscious mind, because once it comes up here in the conscious mind, it means that we must deal with it. And you won't believe how much of your behaviors are directed by the things that you are not even conscious about. So my question again to you as an entrepreneur, are you using this time to pause, re-strategize, think, reflect, and question your own beliefs that might be a stumbling block for you to move forward? Carl Jung says, I think it's Young or Jung, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will control your life and you will call it fate. And you don't want to be here. You want to be in charge of your life. If you are a believer, there are certain things you can't control that you know that you believe that some they call it luck, some they call it blessings, but you want to be in control of the things that you can be in control of. So let's be mindful of what is happening around us. Let's think about the things we think about and question them. And let's make sure that we don't live our life and leave it to fate, but we take charge and still continue to run our businesses successfully. That is
wow. Wow. Mama, thank you very much. John Maxwell says leaders ask critical questions. And I just want to say thank you for bringing a different dimension to the summit, because we love to hear. We love to hear what's good, but we hate to be asked questions, because the questions that we ask, they're becoming a measuring tape of how ready we are. As you were sharing the steps, I got reminded of some story about one of the entrepreneurs. The reason why an aeroplane cannot land everywhere, it's simply because not everywhere has the structure and the capacity to accommodate the aeroplane. So that's why it is always specific places. So how we do, we cannot separate how we do business and how we do our lives. Sometimes it's possible to have a good idea, but the good idea get planted in an unsystematical person who doesn't have beliefs, who doesn't have right values, who doesn't have the right thinking, who doesn't have the right emotions. Kena, I think a lot of entrepreneurs right now, they are down because of we do businesses for good times. We do businesses for good times simply because of we are results oriented. So how do I get the system right? How would you advise me? How do I start? Because I know it's going to be quite a challenge. But I really understand the system because once I get to do this, it gives personal mastery. Then personal mastery will lead to business mastery. But the turnaround, how do I do it?
Yeah, Tapelo, it takes a long time to change a mindset. And I always say, you know, when we talk, when we give talk, we always give, because of lack of vocabulary to explain the reality of life, we always give a simplified version of the complex situation that we are in. So by no means, I don't want any entrepreneur to think they're going to wake up tomorrow if they've been struggling and they've got challenges, that they're going to wake up tomorrow and all of a sudden the mindset, wow, it says opportunities, opportunities. It takes time and you have to be intentional about it. If you are aware that during this time, okay, my alarm is ringing because I didn't want to exceed the time. So if you are aware that you've been struggling and your mind has been filled with only all the bad news, the negatives, you first have to make that decision to say, I need to work on my thinking. I need to work on my mindset. First, start filling your mind and listening to things that is going to start directing you to that direction where you want to see at the top there. So you cannot sit for 7 hours listening to COVID-19 news, how many people are dying, how many small businesses are dying, and expect that your mindset will start thinking opportunities. You start coming to sessions like this and listen to positive things. As much as we simplify it, but that gives you a starting point to say, let me sit down. Let me just have today to sit down, do nothing, and start asking myself questions about my business. Because most of the time they say the person who carries the problem also carries the solution. So if you are carrying the negative mindset, you are also carrying the positive one. But then you have to be intentional and make that decision to say, I need to start thinking positively and looking for opportunities than focusing on all these negative things that are happening.
The person who's carrying the problem is the same person who's carrying the solution.
Yep.
So what I'm struggling with right now, I'm the solution of it. The problems that I'm going through, they actually training me to become an expert in the same thing.
Yes.
Wow. But the belief blocks my appetite to see the opportunity.
Exactly. And you can't bypass
Doctor,
that until you deal with the belief. You're not going to get to the observable part. You have to deal with the stuff deep down there so that the top part can start working for you.
my thinking comes after my values, and my values are driven by spending time on valuable things. Can you just share in the last 10 years, what were your available visited places or how you spend your mornings before you meet the world?
It's been like, to be honest, that there are days where you are in that rush mode, where you go to sleep as an entrepreneur, having left certain things undone, and the first thing you do is to rush to get those things done, and you never get the time to really think about what was happening yesterday. And a new habit that I've started now, which also the COVID-19 has forced me to say, you cannot work 24/7. You must have, even if it's 1 hour, just have that 1 hour where you just sit with your cup of coffee, with no laptop in front of you, with nothing, and just listen to yourself. And funny enough, ideas start coming.
What are values that are non-negotiable with Dr. G, with Dr. Jabulile? Like this one is non-negotiable.
Values are very complicated. I normally don't like bringing them in the entrepreneurship space. My values are embedded a lot in the Christian side of things. And I tend to respect the fact that when you get to the entrepreneurship space, you've got a mix of people who might not be Christian. But I believe in valuing other people, treating other people fairly, and when dealing with other people, have integrity and all those kind of things. Those are things that can be general and fit in whether you are a Christian or not. But there are certain things that I have that are based on the fact that I'm a Christian. So when you start talking to people who are very informed and you start talking about values and you start trying to make your values their values, they will ask you values according to who. So you have to also respect that your values are your values, they are not other people's values. And the fact that other people might have different values with you does not make them bad or anything. We are all different, and we all adopt or adapt values that works for us, for the race that we are trying to run.
The reason why I was bringing the question of the values, Doctor, was based on the fact that there's a global call of leaders, and leaders are value driven, are people who are governed by values. And we understand, Hore, as I was taking out the group poster, you even asked me a question. Why are we dominated by male experts? But a lot of they got scared, they got threatened. So as a leader in the space, that's why I was asking the values, because I feel that's where people compromises the most. You know, that's, I can't see me valuable if I don't have values that governs me. And as much as I respect what you're saying, but I believe that I disadvantage my audience when I get to speak about the entrepreneurial me and leave my Christianity me. Because when the devil attacks what keeps what restores the dream, which is my mind, you know. So that's why the question. All right,
I get you. I get you.
All right, my question was the last one. What your intake? Speak to Batubabo in the business who are in this webinar, who wants to be leaders, but who are scared because they feel that the space is dominated.
I think, Tapelo, we can't run away from the fact that we've got history, and generally we are socialized as women to sometimes think that men can do better than us in certain things, and patriarchy has played a big role in that. And when you look at research, even in the entrepreneurship space, you find that it has moved from just our social spaces also to our business places. Because you find that when you check the entrepreneurial self-efficacy of women is low when you compare it with the male counterpart. And there are a lot of things that comes with that. And because of patriarchy, most of us or the generation maybe before us, they jumped into business generally later than when men started. And all those kind of things, they tend to sit somewhere in our unconscious mind, even if sometimes we are not aware that we still have confidence issues when we had to compete equally. But yeah, it's a very touchy subject, so don't start me on that one. I'm very passionate about women issues and all that kind of thing. But it's one thing that we still have a long way to go to address it.
All right, Doctor. Let me take the audience questions. Right. Kalete is asking a question. How do you deal with rejections? How do you deal with rejections?
It starts with the mindset first. What do you tell yourself? What does rejection means to you? How do you interpret rejection? Because one of the things as an entrepreneur that you have to understand is that rejection is part of your life. You cannot avoid that. So you learn not to take rejection personally. Obviously, it's going to hurt. You're going to have maybe some hours, depending on how quick you can deal with it, where you feel down because you didn't get that order or you didn't get that promotion or whatever. But if you have made it, you've made peace with it, that rejection is just how life goes, and rejection is not the end of the world. It can be no today, there'll be a yes somewhere else today. And that self-talk helps you to deal with that. But if you take rejection personal, when you get rejected, and then you start asking, what's wrong with me? You know, I'm not good enough. It's nothing about that. Somebody else tomorrow will say yes about the very thing that somebody else said no about. And if they said no because you are not good enough, then go and work on it. Ask yourself the questions. When you reflect, you will find out that I lost that business opportunity because I was not competent. And be honest. I was not competent. It was not the devil. It was not anybody else somewhere. It was me. I was not prepared. I was not competent. I need to go and work on this and this and this so that I can move to the next one, get rejected again, learn. The journey of entrepreneurship is about learning. You fail, you learn. You get rejected, you learn until you get to the point where you get you succeed or you get a yes. They say we learn. Most of our learnings comes from the failure. And rejection and failure, if you can't deal with that, then you won't survive as an entrepreneur. You're gonna get depressed because you get so many no's. It's like, I don't know, it's a standard. You get so many no's and you just have to love the no's because they teach you something.
Doctor. The second question from Mr. Mansekani Jason. Hi, Doctor. Thanks for breaking it down. How does one suffer in the present and still be hopeful, because it is in us to slowly go back to a depression state if we don't see results or realize our dreams? And the dreams is so vivid too, but you suffer it now. I think the question is, how do I move? How does my dream compile me to see beyond my struggles now, even though I don't have anything tangible that I can hold?
One of the things I like sometimes making examples about things that I do. One of the things that I do, I've got a circle of friends that I hang around with. Friends that when I get a no, I can go to and say, I'm down today. I got a no and I feel I'm not coping. And they just have a way of kind of like lifting you up. And also self-talk. I think that the most one is self-talk. It's tough. It's not easy to be an entrepreneur. And people sometimes don't understand that it is tough to be an entrepreneur. If you choose that journey, it gets lonely. It's tough. Sometimes also in our culture, people see what was it that you didn't succeed in that made you decide to be an entrepreneur. So it is tough to be an entrepreneur, and you have to be your biggest motivator. Internal motivation is important, but have the right people around you. Have friends that you can talk to that understands your journey, that you are going somewhere together. And also have a coach or a mentor, somebody, especially a mentor, somebody who has walked almost the same road as what we are trying, because they'll be able to also help you to say, when I was at that point, this is how I did it. Not that you have to copy them, but you can learn certain things that you can go and try to apply. But what I want to emphasize, I will never say to everybody or to anybody that it is going to be easy when you feel depressed and all that, that you're just going to wake up and say, Dr. J said self-talk, talk, and then all of that. Some people can take a week down and then they come out. Some they take a month, some they take two. It's all about our internal strength to deal with these things. And you have to feed yourself the right things so that you've got that internal strength so that you can be able to handle these things.
Thank you, Doctor. The questions continue. All right. Abdihlubi uri entrepreneurs try in difficult times. Entrepreneurs try in difficult times. He was quoting one of your utterance. And thank you, Dr. J. You have made me to ask some reflective questions as an entrepreneur. I really love an approach of what you believe determines how you behave. If we're thinking of scarcity brought by the pandemic, then we will have as thought thigh on no opportunities. Is the question, what is the importance of leading with values as part of our daily leadership roles?
I think values help you as a framework in what you do and what you don't do, in what will fly with you and what not. Because if you just live, you can also sometimes mess up your own life. So values are like kind of like your framework or your guiding book that says this is where you go, this is where you don't go, this is how you deal with people, this is how you don't deal with people. So values are important to have because they will help you navigate a complicated life around you.
Doctor, thank you very much. And I think also they are a guide. They make sure that they control what you do, where to be, and with who to be. So without values, we end up meet the wrong people and doing wrong things with our time. And Tate Nolo is asking a question. Hi, Dr. J. One question: how sure are you that your idea or business plan will succeed with all the plans set up and ready to go?
You are never sure. If there is one thing we are sure of as entrepreneurs is that nothing is sure, nothing is guaranteed. There's nothing that you can stand there 100% and say you will succeed. But what plans help you with is it increases your likelihood of success and minimizes mistakes that are unnecessary. So don't throw away. Sometimes I'll hear people say, no, just throw away the plan and just go with the flow. Don't throw away the plan. You need it because it will show you certain things that you won't see when you're thinking it in your head without the plan. But nothing is guaranteed in entrepreneurship. Everything you will know when you fail or when you succeed, that it was it, I succeeded, it wasn't when you have failed. That's just how it is, unfortunately. That's one thing we are certain about is that uncertainties are there.
All right, Doctor. Okay. All right. Coach Tapelo, can you ask Dr. J what line of business is she in and how do one get in touch with other talks and sessions she holds?
So what I do currently, I do breakfast events, which currently we are doing the online sessions, which we do evening events instead of breakfast. You can follow me Facebook or LinkedIn or Twitter at Dr. Jabulile. Then you'll be able to get updates on all the events that are happening. I do coaching and mentorship as well. That is part of my giving back and trying to assist young entrepreneurs so that they don't make the same mistakes I made in my first business, which some of the mistakes I felt they were stupid. And if I had somebody who was mentoring me, who has walked the road, maybe some of the things I would have avoided. So I try to support other entrepreneurs. I'm a firm believer that as entrepreneurs, we need to support each other. So I try to help the young ones. I don't charge them, but I make them pay what I call a commitment fee because people can waste your time. I make them pay a commitment fee, but I don't make them pay my raise because they can't afford. Most of them are starting, and then I support them through their journey. And then other things I do is research, and I help a lot of organizations that do reports for within the SMME space. And I'm a statistician as well by profession. So I do a lot of things, but all under the umbrella of entrepreneurship.
I'm gonna ask you a question. Let me just breathe in and read the last comment. Ntate Buile Mboma or my attitude in terms of rejection, no equals to next opportunity. Doctor,
That's
you
the
have
attitude.
such a all right. Oh, you wanted to say something on the line of what I just read?
No, I was just saying that's the attitude that no is the next opportunity.
All right. You have such amazing profile and things that you do don't go unrecognized. That is a reflection of your life and your strategies when it comes to time managing. As an entrepreneur, I find myself looking around, going up and down, opening this door, closing it, opening here, closing it, and so forth. How crucial is it for one as an entrepreneur to manage their time effectively?
Yeah, the thing is, we all have 24 hours, and you have to use that 24 hours wisely. And one of the downfalls sometimes of entrepreneurs is that we try to do everything alone, and we find that you struggle. One of the things that I've recently tried to learn and make peace with is that I am not going to be able to do everything alone. There are certain things that you have to allow other people to help you with. And there are certain things that we are not as good as other people are, that they can do faster than you. And you pay those people and you let them do those things for you, like what Mr. Balawala was saying yesterday, that you outsource your weaknesses. Because when you try to do things that you are not good at, you take longer. But you can outsource somebody who can do those things quicker for you. And also the reflection thing. Reflection is very important, because when you sit and reflect, that's when you get to decide what are the things that are worth, or what are the doors that are worth opening, and what are the doors that are not worth your time, you going there and trying to open them. So the pausing, as I was saying, that we hardly do as entrepreneurs, because there's always something to chase. Pause, ask yourself the questions, and then, as I was saying, the person with the questions got an answer. You will know which doors to open and which ones not to open.
My last question. In the last 10 years, I believe that there has been there's been situations where your own ability was rejecting to move into, but the destiny pulling mechanism was pulling you. I am taking this question from Steve Jobs in one of his favorite talks, when he says, and I quote, "You can only add dots when you look backwards. That everything that has happened in your life worked in your favor." How do you deal with such? Because sometimes some of us we reject where the destiny is trying to attract us, but only to find that is where our fruits were.
Yeah, the thing is, that's the tricky part about life, as he says, that you can only connect the dots backward. When my first business failed, I was depressed. I was like, why is this happening? But now when I look back, I am happy that that happened, because I wouldn't be the person I am today if I didn't go through that process and that experience. So people normally say, trust the process. The process will take you there. Do what you have to do, but trust the process. There are a lot of painful things that you will curse when they happen to you. But 2 years, 3 years down the line, you will be grateful that they happened. Because sometimes we are rushing to get certain things, but we don't realize that we've got blind spots in certain things that are going to cost us more if we are succeeding with those things. But we have to deal with them and now, so that when we succeed, then we can be sustainable.
Wow. Once we succeed, we are able to become sustainable. Doctor, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what I believe. Patience happens at the strength of understanding, because what we understand determines what we stand. So in closing, I just want to take this opportunity and say, Doctor, thank you very much for taking your time and speaking with us. But how do we get hold of you? And besides following your webinars and your and the coaching sessions, that I feel that I need to ask a question in this platform. We are coming to August, and I believe that in 155 people that have reserved for this webinar summit, we have equal females who are in this summit attending with us. Can we be able to formulate something for them?
Okay, we can work on that and see what we can come out with. You are putting me on the spot. I've just typed my email address on the chat, info@joyg.co.za. Info@joyg.co.za. You can email me there if you want to inquire a bit more about what we do, and we can talk.
All right. Can you give us the website as well, Doctor?
It's www.joyg.co.za. I didn't give it to you intentionally because we are rebranding. So it might be down very soon, but for now it's still up. You can go there and visit.
All right, Doctor, on behalf of Mindthink Institute family and all the attendees, I just want to thank you very much for coming and speaking with us and asking questions that are very critical. I hope and I believe that this is the beginning of us working together.
Thank you very much for inviting me. It was lovely being part of this. I've been listening also to some of the sessions that have been going on. And thank you for the initiative and taking the time and effort to put this together. We really appreciate it. And my last word that I just want to say to all the entrepreneurs: pause, reflect, ask yourself the questions that you are scared to answer, and answer them for yourself.
Oh,
thank you.
Amen, Doctor. Thank
you.
I'm going to load the webinar later on. Ladies and gentlemen, before we close, tomorrow we still continue with the summit the same time. Please, a lot of the emails that we send out are going to your spam emails. Make time to go check them midday. If you don't get them, please email us on hello@mindthink.org.za, hello@mindthink.org.za, or you can WhatsApp us on 083 2140 047, 083 2140 Ladies and gentlemen, it was an amazing night to be with you. Remember, my name is Muta Untapelo, and I always say, remember, you are the best unbeatable element of success. Until we meet tomorrow, I'm out. Doctor, ne ke kopa fela o nkgirisetsa host mo.
How do I do that?
Can you just right? I think you can just tap into our into my name and make me a host.
Okay. You see, you must never give rise to people who don't know technology.
No, it's right. Or else immediately when you leave the webinar. Oh, thank you very much. All right, let me just pause it.
Okay, thank you.
Doctor.